The night was silent. Stars burned cold in the endless black sky. A broken human ship drifted above a dead world, its lights weak, its engines dead. Inside, one man sat alone. His name was Captain Elias Kane. His food was running out. His water was almost gone. Every sound of metal groaning around him reminded him he was stranded. Elias had fought in battles before. He had faced fire and war. But now in this silence he felt something worse than death. He felt alone. For 3 days the radio was quiet. He tried calling his fleet, no answer. He tried to sleep, but his mind always woke to whispers of his past. His wife, his little daughter, both gone long ago. He had buried those memories deep, but now the silence brought them back. Then, on the 4th night, the whisper came. At first, Elias thought it was static, a broken hiss, weak and unclear. But then words formed inside the noise. A soft voice, not human. Man. Elias froze. His hand reached for the radio. Call me. Your daughter. He slammed the switch off, heart racing. His breath shook. What was that? Some alien trick? Some ghost? He waited. Minutes passed. The ship creaked. Then again the whisper. Louder this time. Human. I want you to be my father. Elias stood, eyes scanning the dark corners of his ship. The voice wasn't only in the radio. It was inside the walls, inside his head. Show yourself, he said, voice hard, but his hand trembled. What are you? No answer. Only silence. He tried to sleep, but the voice returned in his dreams. A child's voice, soft and pleading. Father, don't leave me, please. The next morning he found something strange. On his ship's glass window, faint lines had been drawn as if a child's hand had traced them during the night. A shape, a circle. 2 small stars inside like eyes. A face. Elias wiped it away with shaking hands. That night the whisper came again, stronger now. Human. I am here. I am alone, please. Call me your daughter. Elias shouted into the dark. Stop! I am not your father. I don't know you. But the voice didn't stop. It sounded sad, broken. You don't have to love me, just don't leave me. For the first time in years, Elias felt something crack inside his chest. He hated it. He hated the weakness. He hated the sound of that child's voice pulling at the wounds he had buried. He decided he would find the source. He searched the ship. Every hallway. Every dark corner. Nothing. But in the storage room, he found something impossible. A pod. It was not human design. Its surface was smooth, black like glass, glowing with faint light. It pulsed like it was alive. He had never seen it before. He stepped closer. The pod opened. Inside was a small figure, fragile, not human, but not monstrous. Large eyes glowing faint blue, skin pale like moonlight. She looked no older than a child, her lips moved. He heard the same voice. Father, you came. Elias stepped back. His chest tightened. He wanted to run, but his feet froze. No, he whispered. I'm not your father, you're an alien. The girl tilted her head. Her eyes were wide, full of something he didn't expect. Fear. Everyone is gone, she said softly. I have no one left, please. Call me your daughter. Elias clenched his fists. This was madness. He had lost his daughter years ago. He would not open that wound again, but the child reached her hand out, trembling. Her voice broke. I don't want to die alone. Silence filled the ship. Elias stood there, heart heavy, torn between fear and memory. And then the lights of the ship flickered. Systems came alive on their own. The alien pod was connected somehow. If he rejected her, if he cast her away, what would the pod do? He did not answer her. Not yet. But deep inside, something told him. This was only the beginning. The ship was quiet again, but Elias Kane could no longer pretend nothing had changed. He had seen her. He had heard her. That alien child, calling him father. He sat in the control chair, staring at the stars. His hand shook against the cold metal. He tried to tell himself it was a trick. Some alien weapon designed to break him, but the look in her eyes. No weapon could fake that. Behind him, the pod hummed softly. He didn't want to turn around. He didn't want to see her again. But the voice came anyway, soft as a breath. You didn't answer me. Elias closed his eyes. Because I'm not your father. There was silence. Then a sound, small, broken like sobbing. You don't have to be, she whispered. But please don't leave me alone. Something twisted inside him. That same wound he tried to bury years ago. The memory of his daughter's face smiling, then fading forever. He gritted his teeth and turned, ready to push the child away for good. She was standing outside the pod now. Small, fragile, thin arms wrapped around herself. Her skin shimmered faintly in the dim light. She looked more lost than dangerous. Elias kept his voice hard. "Who are you?" "My name is Lyra," she said. "I am the last of my kind," he frowned. "What happened to the rest?" Her eyes lowered.
"They are gone."
"The war took them. The hunger finished the rest." She looked up at him, eyes wide, glowing faintly blue. "I waited in the dark. I heard you. I knew you would come." Elias shook his head. "I didn't come for you. I crashed here. By accident. But you are here," she said simply. "And that is enough." He turned away, pacing the room. "You don't understand. I can't do this. I can't be what you want. Why?" The question hit him like a knife. Why? He could have told her the truth, that once, long ago, he had held a daughter in his arms. That he had promised to protect her and he had failed. That his family had burned because of the war he chose, but he couldn't say it. He wouldn't let this alien child see the cracks inside him. Instead, he snapped, "Because I don't want to." Silence again. Elias thought maybe that would break her. Maybe she would leave him alone. But instead she walked closer, step by step, barefoot on the cold floor until she stood only a few feet away. Her voice trembled. "Even if you don't want to, I will still call you father. Because I have no one else." Elias turned sharply, ready to yell, but then he stopped. Her face, the way her small hand shook, the tears that rolled down her pale skin, glowing faint in the dark. She wasn't playing a trick. She wasn't lying. She was begging. Elias felt his throat tighten. He had sworn he would never feel this pain again. But here it was, alive and burning. "Listen to me," he said, forcing steel into his voice. "I'm a soldier, a killer. If you stay near me, you'll die. You understand?" "I am already dying," she whispered. Elias froze. She lifted her arm. The skin along her wrist was cracked, faint light leaking from beneath like a candle burning out. "My body is weak. I will not last long without someone to hold me here." Elias stared. He didn't understand her words, not fully. But he understood her eyes. They begged not for power, not for escape, but for love, for a father. "No," he muttered, shaking his head. "No, don't do this to me." Lyra's legs trembled. She almost fell, but caught herself on the side of the pod. "Please, just stay. Just for a little while. Call me daughter, only once." "That is enough," the ship groaned. Somewhere deep below, machinery sparked to life again. Systems that had been dead for weeks now glowed faintly. Elias looked at the console. His ship was repairing itself. He turned to her. You're doing this," she nodded weakly. "As long as I am with you, your ship will live. But if you send me away, everything will die." It was too much. Too many questions, too many ghosts rising inside him. He slammed his fist against the wall. "Why me?" he shouted. "Why call me your father?" Her answer was simple. Almost too simple. "Because you listened. Because you came." Elias stood there, breathing hard. He wanted to hate her. He wanted to push her away. But her words, her broken voice, pressed against the one place in him that was still human. He didn't answer. Not yet. But in the shadows of the ship, Elias Kane realized something. This child was not going to stop, and neither deep inside was his heart. The days that followed were heavy with silence. Elias Kane tried to keep his distance, but the child never left his side. Wherever he went in the ship, she followed, quiet, watchful, waiting for him to speak. Her name was Lyra. Her steps were soft, almost weightless, but Elias always felt her presence. She moved like a shadow, small and fragile, yet her eyes never stopped searching his face. He told himself he didn't care. He told himself he wasn't her father. But deep inside, he already knew if danger came, he would not abandon her, and danger came sooner than he expected. Elias was checking the outer hull, repairing cracks with what little equipment he had left, when the warning siren screamed through the ship. Red lights flashed across the walls. Something was approaching. He rushed to the control deck. The scanner showed 3 blips moving fast. Small ships, armed. Not human, his blood ran cold. He knew the pattern. Raiders. Alien scavengers that hunted wrecks like his, killing survivors and taking whatever they wanted. He grabbed his rifle, checked the charge. Only half full. It would have to do, then he heard her voice. "Father, what is it?" He turned sharply. Lyra stood in the doorway, her pale eyes glowing faintly in the red light. "Stay here," he ordered. But she shook her head. "No, I stay with you. This is not a game," Elias snapped. "They'll kill you." Her voice was calm, steady. "They'll kill you too. That is why I must stay." Before he could argue, the ship shook. The raiders had latched onto the hull. Metal screeched as they forced their way in. Elias cursed under his breath. He pressed Lyra against the wall. "Listen, if they find you, they'll take you. Do not let them touch you. Do you understand?" Her small hand grabbed his sleeve. "Then don't let them." For a heartbeat, he saw his own daughter's face in hers. The same trust, the same innocent eyes. He tore his arm free, heart burning, and moved to the hatch. The raiders stormed inside, armored and armed with jagged rifles. Their leader hissed in a guttural voice, "Human, step aside. We know what you hide." Elias raised his rifle. "You'll leave with nothing." The leader snarled and fired. The battle exploded. Blasts of light cut through the corridor. Elias fired back, taking down one, then another, but his rifle sputtered low. Sparks flew from the walls. The ship itself groaned under the attack. Then Elias heard a scream. He turned. One raider had broken past him, rushing toward Lyra. "No!" Elias roared, charging forward, but he was too slow. The raider lifted his weapon. And then everything changed. Light burst from Lyra's hands, sharp and blue. The raider flew back, slamming into the wall, armor cracking. The others froze, stunned. Lyra's eyes glowed like fire. Her small frame trembled, but she stood tall, energy burning around her like a storm. Elias stared, his rifle lowering. She was no helpless child. The raiders, shaken, began to retreat. Their leader spat curses, dragging his wounded soldiers back toward their ship. "This is not over, human." When the hatch sealed again, silence fell. Smoke hung in the air. Elias turned slowly. Lyra stood in the middle of the corridor, breathing hard, light fading from her skin. She swayed, almost collapsing. He rushed to her, catching her before she fell. Her body was cold, weaker than before. "You could have died," he whispered, anger and fear twisting together. Her lips moved faintly. "So could you." Elias held her tighter than he meant to. He wanted to scold her, to tell her never to do that again, but the words would not come. All he could see was the way she had looked at him, even in the face of death, trusting him, protecting him, calling him father without saying the word. He carried her back to the pod, laying her down gently. She closed her eyes, exhausted, but her hand still reached for his sleeve. "Don't leave me," she murmured. Elias sat beside her. He told himself it was only until she slept. Only until he was sure she would live. But even after her breathing steadied, he did not move. The truth was clear now. He could deny the word. He could deny the bond. But he could not deny his actions. He was her protector. And deep inside, he feared what that meant. Because protection always leads to love. The ship floated in silence again, scars from the battle still burning on the walls. Elias Kane sat at the control deck, rifle across his knees, his eyes staring at the dead stars outside. He told himself he had survived worse, but this time survival wasn't only his. Behind him, Lyra slept inside the pod, her small chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. She had saved him with her strange power, but the light had drained her. She looked weaker now, almost fading. Elias hated himself for caring. He wasn't her father. He wasn't anyone's father anymore. But every time she whispered, "Don't leave me," the chains around his heart pulled tighter. 3 days later, the raiders returned. Not the same ones. These ships were larger, sharper, marked with the symbols of an alien empire Elias didn't recognize. Their voices came through the comms, cold and sharp. "Human vessel. You are harboring dangerous property. Hand it over and we will let you live." Elias didn't need to ask who they wanted. His eyes drifted to the pod. Lyra was awake now, sitting up, her big eyes watching him. She had heard every word. "They want me," she whispered. Elias gripped the rifle tighter. "Then they can't have you." But she shook her head. "If you fight them, you'll die. They won't stop." "They know what I am. And what are you?" Elias asked, voice sharp. For the first time, Lyra looked away. "A weapon." The word hit him like ice. She continued softly. "My people made me. Not for love. Not for family, for war. That is why the raiders came. That is why others will come. If you stay with me." You'll die like the rest, Elias stared at her. For a moment, he wanted to believe her. Maybe the smart choice was to hand her over. Maybe that was the way to live. But then she lifted her face again, tears shining in her glowing eyes. Even if I was made for war, I only want one thing, a father. Just one. The alien ships docked. Heavy steps echoed through the halls. These soldiers were not scavengers. They moved in formation, their armor heavy, their weapons humming with energy. Elias positioned himself at the hatch. His rifle felt too small. His body felt too old, but then he heard her voice behind him. Father. He turned. Lyra stood in the doorway, fragile but unshaken. You don't have to call me that, Elias said, almost begging. She smiled faintly. I will anyway. The hatch blew open. The soldiers marched in, led by a tall figure with silver armor. His voice was calm, cruel, human. Hand her over. This is mercy. Elias raised his rifle. You'll have to kill me first. The leader's head tilted. That can be arranged. The battle was chaos. Blasts shook the ship. Elias fired until his rifle burned, dropping soldier after soldier, but more pushed forward. Their weapons tore holes in the walls, sparks raining around them. And then one of the soldiers broke through, seizing Lyra's arm. She screamed, light flickering weakly from her hands. Elias saw red. He charged, tackling the soldier to the floor. His fist struck until the armor cracked. He tore Lyra free, pulling her behind him. The leader laughed. So it's true. The weapon has chosen you. Foolish human. Do you think she loves you? She cannot love. She was built only to destroy. Elias's breath came heavy, his body aching, but he held the rifle steady. His voice was low, deadly. Maybe she was built for war, but she's not a weapon. Not to me, the leader's eyes narrowed. Then you will die with her. He raised his blade, swinging down, and then Lyra screamed. Her body glowed with violent light, brighter than before. The soldiers staggered back, shielding their eyes. The air trembled, alive with energy. Elias turned, shocked. Her face was twisted with pain, tears streaming, but her voice was clear. Stay behind me, father. The blast exploded from her, a storm of blue fire that ripped through the soldiers, tearing their armor apart. The leader staggered, burned and broken, but managed to retreat with the few survivors. The hatch sealed. Silence returned. Elias dropped his rifle. His chest heaved, his body shaking. He turned to her. Lyra stood in the middle of the destruction, swaying, pale as ash. Her small hands shook as the light faded. She looked at him with broken eyes. You see? She whispered. I heard everything. Even you. Elias stepped closer, grabbing her before she could collapse. He held her tight, his voice rough. No, you saved me. You saved us both. She buried her face against his chest. But you still don't want to be my father. Elias closed his eyes. His throat ached with the words he wanted to say but couldn't. Instead, he whispered, Rest now. I'll keep you safe. Her breathing slowed. Her small body grew heavy in his arms. As Elias carried her back to the pod, he felt the truth pressing hard against his heart. She was right. He had not said the word. He could not. Not yet. But deep inside, he knew the moment was coming. And when it came, there would be no turning back. The ship was scarred and broken, yet alive. Power still hummed faintly through the walls, though Elias knew it wasn't because of his repairs. It was because of her. Lyra slept in the pod, her small body curled like a child hiding from the world. Blue light pulsed softly beneath her skin, faint and unsteady, as though her life was a flame fighting against the wind. Elias sat across from her, rifle across his knees, eyes locked on her face. He told himself he was only guarding her, that if enemies returned, he would be ready. But he knew the truth. He was watching her breathe, making sure she didn't leave him in the night. He hated himself for it. Sleep refused to come. When he closed his eyes, ghosts waited for him. He saw his daughter again. Not Lyra, the real one. Emma, small hands clutching his uniform when he left for war. A smile with missing teeth. A voice calling him Daddy one last time before the fire took her. Elias woke with a start, sweat cold on his skin. His chest ached as if the wound were new again. Across the room, Lyra stirred. Her eyes opened, faint glow returning. You dreamed, she whispered. Elias scowled. You watch me sleep now? You were crying, she said softly. He froze. He hadn't even realized. She tilted her head, her glowing eyes deep with sadness. You lost someone. His jaw tightened. Stay out of my head. I didn't look in your head, she said. I saw it in your heart. Elias wanted to deny it, but the fight left him. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling. For a long moment he said nothing. Then the word slipped out. My daughter. Her name was Emma. Lyra blinked slowly. She is gone. Yes, he said. His voice broke. Because of me. The silence that followed was heavy. Elias expected pity. He expected blame. But Lyra only whispered, then let me take her place. The words struck like a blade. Elias sat up, anger and grief swirling together. No, you can't. You're not her. You'll never be her. Lyra's lip trembled, but her gaze didn't waver. I know I'm not her. I know I'm different. But I can still be yours. If you let me. Elias turned away, fists clenched. He wanted to shout, to drive her away, to bury the pain where it could not reach him. But the sound of her voice, fragile and desperate, broke the walls he had built. He looked back at her. She was crying. Silent, glowing tears sliding down her pale face. Yet she smiled faintly, as if even his rejection was better than being alone. Even if you never call me daughter, she said, I will still call you father, because you are the only one who stayed. That night, danger found them again. A signal cut through the quiet. Human voices, distorted through static. A patrol ship passing nearby. Elias should have felt hope, rescue, a way home. But when he tried to answer, the patrol demanded coordinates. And when he gave them, their response was not comfort, it was suspicion. Your ship is damaged, Captain Kane. But our records show you were declared lost weeks ago. What else is with you? Elias's stomach sank, they knew. Or they had guessed. Nothing, he lied. Just me. But the line cut with a cold reply. We'll confirm that ourselves. The patrol ship began its approach. Lyra appeared at his side, clutching his sleeve. They'll take me too. They're human, Elias said, though even he didn't believe it. They're my people, her voice shook. If they see me, they won't let me stay. They'll take me away from you. Elias hesitated. His duty was clear. He was a soldier. He should hand her over, return with his people, save himself. That was survival. But when he looked into her eyes, wide and wet with fear, he saw Emma again. He saw his daughter reaching for him one last time, and he knew he could not let her go. The patrol ship latched on. Human soldiers entered, weapons raised. Captain Kane, step aside. We know the alien is here. Elias raised his rifle. His voice was steady now, cold as steel. You're not taking her. The soldiers exchanged looks. One muttered, he's protecting it. Lyra's small hand tightened around his arm. Father, she whispered. The word burned through him. He hadn't accepted it yet. He hadn't spoken it back. But hearing it now in the face of his own people, something inside him shifted. For the first time in years, Elias Kane felt alive again. Not for himself. For her, the standoff filled the corridor with tension. Human rifles pointed at him. His own rifle aimed back. Lyra stood between worlds, alien and human, child and weapon. Elias knew the truth then. The past was gone. Emma was gone. But here now he had a choice. He could run from it, or he could fight for it. And deep inside, he already knew what he would choose. The corridor still echoed with the sound of human voices and weapons. Elias Kane stood at the center, rifle raised, his back pressed against the small figure trembling behind him. The human patrol had come not as rescuers, but as hunters. Their eyes were hard, their rifles steady, and their orders clear. Step aside, Captain, their commander said. We know what you're hiding. That creature belongs to us now. Elias tightened his grip on the rifle. He could feel Lyra's fingers clutching his sleeve, cold and desperate. She's not yours, he said. His voice was low, dangerous. She's not a weapon. Not anymore. The commander's eyes narrowed. Then you've already betrayed your species. The fight began in an instant. Blasts of light tore through the corridor. Elias dove for cover, pulling Lyra with him. His rifle spat fire, striking down the first soldier. Sparks rained from the walls, alarms screamed, smoke filled the air. But these were trained men, his own people, soldiers like him. And he was only one man. A blast struck his side. Pain burned across his ribs, but he stayed on his feet. Another shot grazed his arm, tearing flesh. He staggered, but kept firing. Run! Elias shouted to Lyra. Hide! But she shook her head, tears burning down her pale face. Not without you. More soldiers stormed in. Elias fired until his rifle clicked empty. He swung it like a club. smashing one soldier down before another slammed him against the wall. The commander raised his weapon, aiming straight for Lyra. Elias's eyes widened. He broke free, throwing himself between them. The blast struck his chest. His body slammed to the floor. Pain swallowed him whole. His vision blurred. He could hear Lyra screaming his name, her small hands shaking him, but his body would not rise. This was the end. But then the air itself began to tremble. Lyra's cry turned into a roar of power. Blue fire poured from her body, brighter than ever before. Her small frame glowed like a star, her eyes burning with fury and grief. "You will not take him," she screamed. The soldiers staggered back, shielding their faces, but it was too late. The storm erupted. Light crashed through the corridor, tearing metal apart, shattering weapons, burning through armor. Screams echoed as the patrol was thrown back, crushed beneath the weight of her power. The commander fell last, his body scorched, his weapon shattered. His final words were drowned in the storm, and then silence. Lyra collapsed beside Elias, trembling, her glow fading fast. Her small hand clutched his, her voice weak. "Don't die," she whispered. "Please, don't leave me too." Elias's chest burned. Each breath was shallow, broken. He could feel the warmth of blood soaking through his suit. He wanted to speak, to comfort her, but the words caught in his throat. He thought of Emma, his real daughter, the promise he had broken, and then he looked at Lyra. Fragile, afraid, still calling him father even when he refused. In that moment, he understood. He couldn't save Emma, but he could save her. With the last of his strength, Elias lifted his hand, resting it against Lyra's tear-streaked cheek. "No," his voice cracked. "I won't leave you." Her eyes widened. "You are my daughter." The words tore out of him, breaking the chains he had carried for years. His body shook, his vision blurred, but in her eyes he saw hope ignite. Her tears fell faster, glowing against his skin. She pressed her small face against his chest, whispering through sobs. "Finally, you said it." But the cost was not over. The ship groaned, alarms shrieking again. The battle had torn through the hull. Fire spread across the corridors. Oxygen levels dropped. If they stayed, they would both die. Elias forced himself to stand, his body screaming in pain. He lifted Lyra into his arms, holding her close. "Stay with me," he muttered. "Just stay awake." She nodded weakly, her glow flickering. "I will. Because you are here." Step by step, he carried her toward the control deck, past flames and broken steel. His body wanted to fall, but his will pushed forward. He had made his choice, not as a soldier, not as a survivor, but as a father. They reached the deck. Systems sparked, the ship's engines dying. Elias placed Lyra in the chair, his hands moving across controls. He rerouted power, forced life into the engines. The ship shuddered, struggling to rise. Alarms screamed louder. The hull threatened to collapse, but then energy surged through the systems. Not from his repairs, from her. Lyra reached her small hand across the console, her glow feeding the dying ship. Her voice was faint but steady. "I'll give it everything. For you, father?" "No," Elias shouted. "Don't burn yourself out." Her eyes closed, but her smile was soft. "It's worth it. If it means you live." The engines roared. The ship pulled free from the wreckage, climbing into the stars. Elias grabbed her hand, tears burning his eyes. "No, not like this. We survived together. Do you hear me? Together." Her weak fingers curled around his. Her breathing slowed, but her glow did not vanish. And in that moment, Elias Kane swore he would never let her sacrifice herself again. If the universe wanted her dead, it would have to take him first. The ship drifted through the stars, broken but alive. Smoke still lingered in the halls. Metal groaned with every turn. Yet inside the control deck, a new silence had fallen. Not the silence of despair, but of survival. Elias Kane sat in the captain's chair, blood still dried along his uniform, ribs aching from every breath. Beside him, Lyra rested, her glow faint but steady. Her small hand remained in his, her pulse weak but alive. She had nearly burned herself out to save him, nearly given everything. And still she had smiled, calling him father even as the light faded from her eyes. Elias had seen many battlefields. He had seen men die screaming, seen cities burn, but nothing had cut him deeper than watching that small child risk her life for his. He had already said the words once. He had called her daughter, and now he knew. He would never take them back. Days passed. The patrol ships did not return, either destroyed by her power or too afraid to chase them. The wreck of his old fleet remained silent in the distance, no rescue coming. Elias spent those days repairing the ship as best he could. His hands worked, but his eyes always drifted back to her. Lyra spoke little now. Her strength was low, her body fragile, but when she opened her eyes, she always searched for him. And when she found him, she smiled. "Still here," she would whisper. "Always," Elias would answer. One night, as the ship glided through endless dark, she asked him a question. "Why do humans fight so hard to live?" Elias sat beside her, staring at the stars beyond the window. "Because life is all we have. And because sometimes we live for someone else." She tilted her head, her glowing eyes soft. "Like you live for me?" Elias hesitated, but the answer came easily now. "Yes, for you." Her small hand squeezed his weakly. "Then I will live for you too." For the first time since Emma's death, Elias felt the weight lift from his chest. Not gone completely, but lighter. Bearable. The final test came without warning. The ship's sensors screamed, an enemy fleet approaching. Not raiders, not patrols, something larger. Warships, stretching across the void like a wall of fire. Elias cursed under his breath. They had tracked her again. They would never stop hunting her. He checked his weapons. Empty. Shields. Broken. Engines barely alive. There was no chance. Lyra's voice came from behind him, soft but steady. "Let me end it. If I burn everything, they will fall." Elias turned sharply. "No, you won't, not again." Her eyes searched his. "If I don't, they'll kill you, and then I'll be alone." Elias dropped to his knees before her. He held her shoulders, his voice fierce. "Listen to me. You're not alone anymore. You'll never be alone again. Because I'm here, and I'm not letting you go." Her lips trembled. "But you'll die. Then I die as your father," Elias said. His voice shook, but his eyes did not. "That's enough for me." Tears glowed down her cheeks. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she buried her face against his chest, clinging to him. "I don't want you to die. Not you, not my father." The enemy fleet drew closer. Weapons locked. The end was seconds away. Elias stood, placing himself in front of her, his rifle raised even though it was useless. If this was the end, then he would meet it standing. But then, something unexpected happened. The ship began to glow. Not from fire, not from damage, from her. Lyra's light spread through the walls, into the wires, into the heart of the vessel. The engines roared, shields flickered alive, weapons powered with strength they never had before. Elias turned in shock. "Lyra, what are you doing?" Her voice filled the deck, not weak now, but strong, calm, certain. "I'm not giving my life away. I'm giving it to you. To us, to our ship, to our family." The ship surged forward, faster than light, slipping between the enemy warships. Their weapons fired, but every shot missed. Shields held, engines burned bright, guided by her energy. Elias gripped the console, laughing through his tears. "That's it. That's my girl." They tore through the blockade, escaping into open stars. The enemy ships vanished behind them, left chasing ghosts. When the ship finally calmed, when the stars stretched wide and free again, Elias turned to her. She was slumped in the chair, her glow dim but alive. She smiled faintly, her voice a whisper. "You're proud of me?" Elias knelt, holding her hand. His throat tightened, but the words came clear. "More than proud. I'm your father, and you are my daughter." Her eyes shone, tears mixing with her glow. For the first time there was no doubt, no hesitation. He had said it fully, truly. And for the first time Elias Kane felt whole again. The stars stretched before them. The war would come again, the hunts would never end. But none of that mattered now. Because in the silence of the broken ship, a human soldier and an alien child sat side by side. Not weapon and keeper, not soldier and prisoner, but father and daughter. And in that bond, stronger than war, stronger than death, lay the truth of humanity. Humans were not feared because of weapons, not because of ships, not because of war. They were feared because they chose who to love, and they never let go.